for the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
All right, guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and today we're in the WYSL studio, and I've got Bob Savage here.
Hello, one and all.
Yeah. So we were just talking about the weather is looking nice. Maybe we'll get some motorcycle riding in.
Going to be a nice week. Watch out for the bikes, folks.
Yep, absolutely. Keep an eye, look twice, and you never know. That might be me in your blind spot. So I'd
look twice, save a life, especially if it's Andrew. No, I didn't say it that way. I didn't mean to say it that way. But you know what I meant.
Yep. No, absolutely. So we're going to talk about a couple things today. Primarily, what we're going to talk about is Governor Cuomo banning flavored vape in New York State by emergency executive order.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about social media. Over the weekend, a few people told me, hey, I used to get notifications about your show every time you went live. And for some reason, I'm not getting those notifications anymore.
Oh, boy.
And after one person said it, like 4 other people said, yeah, you know what? Me too. I haven't been getting the notifications. So what I'm going to do for those of you who are listening on the radio, those who might be on social media, is just really quickly walk you through how to make sure those notifications are enabled so you're not missing out on the shows because, if you're here listening, it's probably because you like hearing the shows. So we're going to start off with Facebook, and we'll go through this pretty quick. It's actually pretty simple. So if you open up Facebook, go to the little search bar, type in Andrew C. Hollister, you'll find that Andrew C. Hollister Facebook page. First thing you're going to do, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button, Facebook's not even going to set you up to follow and get notifications. After you hit the like button, you'll see a follow option pop up. And I'm just throwing this on the screen for you guys. You click the little drop down for following, and make sure you check the box that says see first. If you leave it on default, what's going to happen is it'll just get lost in the shuffle. And so if you get a bunch of notifications all at once, you might miss out on it. You might not see it. So make sure you check that see first box. That will make sure that you get the notifications when we're live on Facebook. Now, for those of you who are listening on YouTube, kind of similar situation here. You're going to go Andrew C. Hollister on YouTube, find the YouTube page there, and you're going to click that big red subscribe button. It's pretty easy to find, but that just subscribes you to the channel. That doesn't give you the notifications. If you want the notifications, after you click the red subscribe button, you'll see it goes gray, and you'll see a little bell show up right next to it on the right-hand side. Click the bell so it goes bold and filled in. That will actually give you the notifications when I go live on YouTube. I would do it on both. That way you get the notifications, while you're traveling, at work. I know some of you guys, especially outside of our radio listenership area, you rely on Facebook and YouTube to get the show, and that will help you make sure you get those notifications. And speaking of YouTube, I'm going to be uploading the podcasts on our YouTube for the guest hosts who filled in for me while I was gone. So I know those aren't up right now. They will be later this week. So,
okay, you're going to go over the notifications for like Dunwoody, Snarky, and Earwax too?
Yes, absolutely. Those platforms? Those are very, very important. Yep.
A lot of people use those.
Yep. So if you guys go ahead, set up those notifications, you'll know it's working if you get the notification later this week when I upload those videos. The next social media, we're on a new platform. So yeah. So we added another. So supposedly I am one of the approved people to stream on LinkedIn. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm trying right now for the show. So
I didn't know that LinkedIn did these things. Of course, I know nothing about social media. He's just went through all this litany, folks, and he might as well have been speaking, like Mesopotamian.
There you go. Yep.
To me.
So I got a notification saying LinkedIn was allowing a small portion of people to do live streaming as a beta. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And it didn't work. And I realized it was actually somebody had used my computer and left themselves logged in. And I was like, oh, this isn't even, it gave me this big form to fill out so I could apply. I was like, no, logged into my account. It's like, oh, yeah, no, you're approved. You can try it. So we'll find out. We'll see if this ends up on LinkedIn or not later today.
So this is a beta project?
It seems to be a beta program.
Will they also cover people with VHS?
I don't know about the VHS. That might be,
We got it both formats.
Yeah, of course. Yep. So that's a little bit about social media. The last thing I'm going to plug is our Patreon. I haven't really talked about the Patreon the last few shows, but the Patreon is what we're using to support the show, keep it on the air, and really my goal is to grow the show, guys. I would really like to move to a 5-day-a-week show, and I'm not the type of person. I really don't like asking people for money, so I don't do it very often.
Nobody does.
But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. But the show takes me about 10 hours a week right now between prep and travel and actual airtime. That's time taken away from me actually working and spending time with family and that sort of things. So if you guys really do like the content, which you guys tell me all the time, you love it, please consider supporting us through Patreon. And I've got that link up here for you guys just in case. And some of you are supporting us, which is amazing. But the link is patreon.com/RFNY. So Patreon spelled patreon.com/RFNY. And you can go there and you can, just jump on one of the monthly subscriptions, or you can click custom and give whatever amount works for you, whether that's $5, $10, $50, or even $100, whatever it's worth to you each month to keep the show going and also help us grow. You guys might have noticed we don't run many ads on the show. We run very little so that I can give you as much content as possible. And as a libertarian, I believe that people would voluntarily fund the things that are important to them. So if the show is important to you, consider helping out. And if you can't, that's fine too. I totally get it. But for those of you who can and want to, that would help us. So there's my bit. You probably won't hear me talk about that, again for a long time. But we're talking social media, so I figured I'd throw it in there. So tomorrow's Constitution Day.
Oh, that's right. Yes. It's all coming back to me now.
Constitution
17th,
Day.
Yep,
the 17th Constitution Day was designated to commemorate the signing of the U.S. Constitution in Philadelphia on September 17th, 1787. So tomorrow I'll actually be at Alfred State, and I'll be there with Young Americans for Liberty, talking with students about the Constitution and why that's important.
Tell us about that organization, Young Americans for Liberty. Hadn't heard of those.
So they're like a group for activism for young people who are interested in liberty, which, sometimes feels like there's not many of them around. But no, so they're called Yale. I don't know a ton about them. I know that they have groups on college campuses, and they push for activism, and they help campaigns. So somebody reached out from there and said, hey, we really like what Larry and you did last year. I'd like to have you come to the campus and just talk to people about why the Constitution is so important. And you guys know me. I like talking about why the Constitution is so important. So,
very nice. You're expecting a big crowd?
I don't know. I don't really know what to expect. It sounds like we're going to start by walking around and handing out pocket constitutions. And then we're going to kind of end somewhere and just have discussion. Probably it may be open discussion. It might be kind of like a panel. I'm not really sure. I'm just excited that there's going to be young people who want to hear about the Constitution.
Awesome.
So,
well, thanks for doing that. That's a great thing to do.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that any chance I get to talk with young people about the Constitution, about our liberties, about the foundation of our country, what tyranny is, any of that, I always want to jump on that opportunity and try to get in there and talk about it to make sure that it's not lost, because especially in the education system we have today, it really feels like that just doesn't get taught in schools at all.
Or what's taught about it is an absolute abject lie.
Yeah, or they leave a lot of the really important stuff out. So if I can get into school and I can share that information, I'm on it 100%. All right, guys, we're going to take a real quick break here on Radio Free New York, and we'll be back in a moment.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your...
245.
Experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that
Last spot
is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York
On the WYSL stations.
All right, guys, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We are going to be talking about vape today. I see you guys are commenting about it. Yvonne says she's smoking her nicotine salt berry flavor vape right now. And
Not technically smoking, actually.
Yeah.
Inhaling.
Yep. And Robert says THC Candyland flavor. I already used the black market because of this nation's draconian laws. Nothing will change. And
I think that's right.
Yep. Sounds good. So you guys are already on the right track here. Before I dive right into the vaping, I do want to tell you guys about a couple events coming up this week. So I told you guys already I will be at Alfred State, but while I'm at Alfred State,
Now, what time is that? Can anybody go there, or is it just for the students?
I think it's meant for the students specifically. They asked me to get there around 5, so I'll get there early, obviously, and I'll stay till they kick me out, I guess. So that's usually how it goes. I do have, though, something that might be of interest to you guys, and that is Larry Sharp is going to be in town. So,
excellent.
Yeah. So normally
Why don't you bring him by here, by the station?
Yeah,
I haven't seen him since the election.
Yeah,
before the election.
We'll see if we can't fit him in. There might be a possibility to get him in, but he's got some events coming up. Normally, Larry and I will try to do the events together, but the way this overlapped, I'm going to miss out on tomorrow night's event, which I'm very disappointed at. But first thing he's doing tomorrow is at 11:30 a.m. He's going to be at the College of Brockport for the Constitution and Political Parties panel. So very similar to what I'll be doing at Alfred, he'll be doing here in Brockport. That's 11 a.m. I believe that is open to the public. So if you guys want to go to that, please feel free. Then tomorrow night at 4 p.m., he's going to have a chicken dinner with Larry Sharp at the Dutch Mill. It's a fundraiser. Keep the momentum going.
The headquarters for a bait.
Yep. Dutch Mill has been extremely supportive of us. I can't thank them enough. They make the restaurant available anytime we want to do an event. The owners over there are awesome. And actually, like, half my family's there like all week long. They just love the place. So it's a good place. Then there is an event in Owego on the 20th and in Lima. So if you guys are listening from the Owego area, there is a noon event on Friday.
This is all with Larry, right?
This is all Larry. Yep, these are all Larry. And then he will be in Lima at the American Hotel.
What's right around the corner from the station here?
Yeah, nice and close. So he'll be there 5 p.m. on Friday. Then on Saturday, he'll be in Ontario County. So I'll actually be here for this one. This is an early one. This starts at 8:30 in the morning. It's going to be at the Ontario County Courthouse. And we're going to have a press conference with Eric Cooper, who is, if I recall specifically what his title is, he holds a few offices in Canandaigua. He is also what I think they say is the vice chair of the party, the Republican Party in Canandaigua.
Oh, really?
So we've got kind of a joint press conference going on there. So that's 8:30 in the morning. But if you're in the area or you want to see something cool going on, I highly recommend it. I'll be there. Larry will be there. It's going to be a good time. Then later that day at 11, he'll be in Albion. And then a little bit later, he'll be at TF Brown's in Batavia, which TF Brown's has also been just really awesome to us. They've opened themselves up to our events many, many times. So there you go. So there's a week of Larry in Western New York. If you guys can get a chance to get out and see Larry, it's always a good time. Larry's always got something great to talk about. And it'll, of course, be around Western New York and what's important to us here. So, but definitely, if you can't make any of them, the Saturday morning event, I definitely recommend coming to.
Well, if he's going to be in Lima on Friday afternoon, you just bring him by the station during your show.
Yeah. So we'll see if that works out. See if he can get out of his other one in time. But yeah, that would be awesome to get him in here even for half an hour or so. So we'll see if it fits. All right, guys. So vaping now,
proving once again that when it comes to leftists, anything that they like, anything that they believe in, they want mandatory. Anything they don't like, they want banned.
Yep, absolutely.
Notice they never say anything about, well, it's not a good idea for you to do these things for this reason or that reason, so don't do it. No, they have to. It always has to be top down.
Yeah, and that's what's really interesting about this whole vape thing. Actually, let me get a couple things out of the way for you guys who are listening to the show. Maybe you're joining for the first time. Maybe you've heard a couple episodes. This is actually episode 90, by the way. So we're cranking them out pretty good. But a couple things to get out of the way for those who may not know me or know my lifestyle. I don't smoke. So I don't smoke cigarettes, marijuana. I don't vape. Never have. I haven't tried CBD in any form. I have no reason to support vaping because I have nothing vested in it, and it's not a lifestyle that I follow or anything like that. It's not something that's a part of my life. So everything I'm saying to you guys is as a person who has no vested interest in the topic. My vested interest is that I believe that you should be allowed to do with your body what you want. You know, that's the basic principle of it. And if you want to have a transaction between a business or somebody else that's voluntary, and you agree on a price for a product or service, that you should be able to exchange those things without government getting involved. So that's the principles I'm following. That's where I'm approaching this conversation from. And for those of you who may not know, Cuomo used emergency executive action to ban flavored vape in New York State.
And look at that. The legislature's out of session. So there's no way that we could have gotten this through the Assembly and the Senate anyway. So now we have King Cuomo just
doing what he wants,
imposing his will.
Yep. And if I recall, this is exactly how they got rid of the concealed carry permit insurance, if I recall. I'd have to look back, but I think it was banned the same way, where Cuomo said, by executive order, this insurance can no longer be sold in New York State. I'd have to double check if that's the specific process. They have all sorts of processes to take away our rights, yet it seems that when we want them back, there's no clear or easy process to get them back.
Yeah. Move to another state.
Yeah.
As he said to us once.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
In effect.
Yeah, absolutely. So what this does, in my opinion, is this is going to crush jobs in our state. I don't think that there are any other industries growing as fast as vaping and flavored vaping in New York State. I don't think there is, because every time I turn around, there's a new vape shop opening up. The only thing that could be close, I think, is probably the CBD shops. And a lot of times they're one and the same. So literally the fastest growing industry, from my perspective anyway, somebody might jump up and tell me, no, Andrew, the threaded needle something or other, some obscure industry that I'm not seeing in the news. But vape shops, they're popping up all over the place. They're typically small businesses. These aren't chains or franchises opening up. This isn't, big companies coming in here. It's a small shop. A lot of times friends got together and started a business. They've hired their friends. So it's really a local economy type thing. And then the people who come into a vape shop, it's actually really interesting. It's kind of like that barbershop feel. You come in, you hang out, you get to know the people who run the place. The customers are very loyal. It's kind of this whole community, really. And whether you like vaping or not is kind of irrelevant to the discussion about the economics that it provides. What vaping has provided to New York State is small growing businesses and jobs and product that, people are very happy to buy. So now we've decided, you know what, let's take the sale out of this. By executive action, we are going to take flavor out of vape. Why? Well, my theories are it probably has to do with the tobacco industry, but I can't say whether that's true or not. New York State makes a lot of money on tobacco sales, a lot of money.
Seems like there's been an awful lot of political opposition to this whole e-cig thing.
Sure.
There's a lot of alarmist stuff that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things I did is I actually checked the CDC records just to see, how many people are really dying from vape and what's going on, this big thing. I'm thinking, I just got back from vacation. Clearly I missed, the 500,000 people that died of vape, or something.
I think you heard something about this.
Yeah. That was since 2012. All right. So going back 7 years, there have been 6 deaths contributed to vaping.
In New York State or nationally?
No, nationally.
Wow.
Nationally.
6?
6, according to the CDC. And specifically, these deaths were black market THC cocktails, if you will. You know, it's kind of like an underground market.
Yeah, so it's
where
being
these
used
6
to
deaths
administer
came from.
drugs,
Yeah,
street
absolutely.
drugs.
So not actually the vaping devices themselves, not the vapor itself. The juice that was put in wasn't good, I guess, is the best way. None of those were sold through a vape shop. It was all black market sales. So 6. Tide Pods, 8 people. So just to put that in perspective, you know, I just want to put this in perspective for those of you listening to the show. Tide Pods have killed more people nationally in the last 7 years than vaping products have.
And arguably far dumber.
Yeah. Well,
A far dumber thing to do.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a little cognitive dissonance here too, because when this phenomenon came out, you know, e-cigs, this was supposed to be some kind of an aid to help you quit smoking, which has been this health, you know, debacle since 1964. That's when the original Surgeon General's report came out. So why all of a sudden, I think you put your fingers on it, by the way, it's because e-cigs are threatening a portion of the tobacco market.
Yeah, which threatens
big money for government.
A portion of government taxes. Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the vaping industry, and then we'll talk about the safety issues, and then we'll talk about what we could do instead of regulations. We'll talk about here on Radio Free New York.
You're listening to the voice of liberty. WYSL. AM 1040 Avon, Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, FM 95.5 Spencerport, and WYSL1040.com everywhere.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop specializing in pre-owned firearms and repairs. Get your rifle, shotgun, or pistol serviced and tuned before you take it to the field. Open daily. Avon Gun, East Main Street, between the Bank of Castile and Charlotte's Web of Odds and Ends.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Radio Free New York on WYSL. AM 1040, FM 92.1, and FM 95.5 West.
All right, we are back here on Radio Free New York. I'm Andrew Hollister, your host, and we're talking about vaping.
Hey, you got a lot of folks on the social media there that are observing?
There's people popping in. So with the new update, I can't actually see the people in there. You know how I used to give people shout outs who are listening? So now that's actually a really good point. Somebody asked about that over the weekend as well. If you're here, you're listening to the show, you're online.
Can they text or something?
Well, yeah, you can comment. So if you're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, just go ahead, say, hey, I'm here in the comments, and your name will pop up. And then, then I can see you're in here. I can see the little, the thing that says people are coming into the show, but I can't see who they are anymore.
You're doing my Joe Biden imitation. Can you give them the number? Yeah. Give them the number they can dial to get in and leave a note. Yeah,
absolutely. So if you guys do have questions or comments, or you just want me to know that, hey, you're here, just pop a little note in the comments. Say, I'm here, I'm listening from, and then tell me where you're listening from, and then we'll see you. And in addition to that, if you guys share this out, that helps, because more people see it. They might be interested. I know I titled the post for the live stream "Hands Off My Vape." Those of you who might be listening to the show right now and didn't catch the first part, I personally don't actually vape. I just thought "Hands Off My Vape" sounded appropriate for what we're talking about. And actually, Nate commented in on Facebook. Nate says, the government shouldn't protect me from me. And I agree. Absolutely. We really, really need government to be out of our lives and out of our business. If government wants to let us know that they found that something was dangerous and they want to make sure you know about it, sure, that's fine. But allow me to make that final decision myself. I need the freedom and the authority over myself to make those decisions. Ron says, fascism is alive and well in New York State. Yeah. This is a very unfortunate thing. So we're talking about vaping products. We're talking about the fact that Cuomo used emergency executive action to ban flavored vape products in New York State. And also about the reality of the deaths. So CDC...
You can have a menthol, apparently, still.
Yes. Well, you can have any of the tobacco flavored. So if you want... And I don't know what tobacco tastes like. I can't imagine that it's a taste most people wake up and decide, you know what I really like today? I like tobacco. I think it's probably an acquired taste that, after a few...
Well, I like a cigar. Cigars are good.
So I guess...
Depending. If it's not some cheapo cigar.
Sure, if it's a good one. Yeah. So I don't really know. I've never actually... and this might sound goofy, I've never experimented with tobacco products, so I can't say. But apparently you can get tobacco-flavored vape in New York. That's it. And for those who missed the last segment, 6 deaths related to vape and vape products since 2012. They were related to bad juice, basically black market juice with THC in them, versus the 8 deaths from Tide Pods. And I gotta say, truthfully and honestly, I think that the ratios are way off, because there's just no way there's many people that vape. There can't be that many people eating Tide Pods. There's just, I think, percentage-wise, you're going to find a vast difference.
Yeah, kind of a Darwinian argument there. The Tide Pod eaters are, they're croaking from excessive cleanliness, I guess.
Something, yeah, they're just too clean for today's society.
And maybe they get their head caught in the spin cycle. I don't know.
Not sure. So what is this law going to do? How is this going to help the people of New York? The answer is it isn't.
It won't.
Plain and simple. Here's what's going to happen.
It's typical. This is Andrew Cuomo grandstanding again.
Yep.
It's just like the SAFE Act. Just like, what else has he done? The stupid bridge.
Yeah.
And any number of other things.
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys exactly what's going to happen. A bunch of legitimate, openly operated vape shops will start to go out of business. We are now going to have small businesses in New York decide whether they're going to pick up and leave to just outside the PA border. So people on the border of New York can get their flavored vape in another state.
Oh, you mean like cigarettes?
Cigarettes. What was that other thing? Oh, fireworks.
Right.
Fireworks.
Right.
Yeah. Remember when fireworks were
May and
illegal?
June, you see all the billboards up. Hey, Tioga, Pennsylvania, come on down.
Yep. So we're going to see that. So we're going to see more people leave the state again. We're going to see jobs leave our state again. And we might find some of these people, they can't leave the state or they don't have the ability to. So they stay and they end up on unemployment and welfare. So now more of our paycheck is going to be needed to contribute to taxes to cover that, because one person in New York State decided that industry shouldn't be alive and well here.
And he doesn't even believe what he says.
No.
It's just again,
saying
it's just some stupid political stunt.
But here's the other thing that's going to happen, and this is the destructive reality of the situation. We are now going to create a black market for vape products, a black market for flavored vape. And that CDC number that was 6 deaths across the nation for the last 7 years, we're going to have more than that in New York State in probably a year, would be my guess. Because people are going to now have to go to the black market for vape and flavored vape. And here's the thing. So you jump into the black market for your flavored vape, and your dealer doesn't have it that day because he didn't make enough, didn't produce enough, didn't buy enough, whatever. It goes, hey, you know what? I don't have the strawberry kiwi vape today, but you know what I do have? I've got some cocaine here. I've got some heroin here. It'll get you through.
Yeah. By the way, this heroin's got fentanyl in it too. Yep. Yeah, it's got that really good Mexican fentanyl. Yeah. It's made in China.
Yeah.
Aye.
So, and that was the issue with marijuana, people would say marijuana was a gateway drug, and it wasn't a gateway drug that like using marijuana would make you desire other drugs. What it was is if your dealer didn't have it, they had something else to offer you. And with the way heroin is made, you try it once and you're hooked. You're not getting off of that. So that is just the reality. And ironically, Cuomo used the drug war and the opioid crisis as justification to do this. He was trying to say that, the vaping industry is acting just like the opioid industry, and they're trying to get people. And it's like you realize that what you just did is you put people in a situation where the market is going to exist. It's just whether it's the open market or the black market. You've just now shoved all these people into the black market and enhanced the opioid crisis. So it will now grow.
Unintended consequences.
Yeah. And the thing about this that I think really, really frustrates me is the Cuomo administration is just constantly crushing growing industry in New York State. They did it with Bitcoin. They've done it with marijuana. They've done it with the firearm industry. Now, the firearm industry isn't a new up-and-coming industry. We've had this for a while, but it's just another industry that's been trampled on by New York State. Now it's vape. They keep trying to eliminate rideshare, and people wonder, why would New York State possibly want to eliminate rideshare? Well, there's 2 reasons. One, the taxes that they get from the taxi unions, which they've started taxing rideshare pretty heavily downstate. It's pretty heavy, things like Uber and Lyft. But the other thing is, DWIs are going down, and that's a big cash cow in New York State. So that's how you know right then and there that it's not about your safety. It's not about caring about you.
Yeah. Do you ever think that the policy would be revealed whereby the state really doesn't want DWI deaths to go down?
No.
Because they cash in on it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you pay serious money to the state, to the court system, and to the attorneys with a DWI. Rideshare is biting into that apple pretty hard. And so they've tried to get rid of rideshare. Airbnb's on the list, same thing, because they've got a pretty generous hospitality hotel tax anytime you spend a night in a hotel. Right now, there's no tax on Airbnbs. And man, New York State does not like that. They want your money. They want it to be in between you and every financial transaction you do. And right now, they're not. So what do? If an industry is growing and they don't have a way to tax the crap out of it,
ban it.
They will ban it or just regulate it out of existence. Or what's worse is, if they've got a donor who's, industry suffering, well, that's easy. They can help them out too. And if they can't figure out how to tax it, they'll just get rid of it.
It's what's called third world governance. You got to pay government their vigorish. You got to make sure that they get their slice.
Yeah, their protection tax there, or whatever you want to call it. Government's always trying to get in between you and your transaction, your voluntary transactions. Those involuntary transactions, man, they like that too. Forcing certain insurances. Not a good situation for those of us who would like to live free and actually have some money in our pockets. And, all of this comes down to a basic concept that you would think we've learned about in history, which is that prohibition does not work. It does not work.
Yeah, 18th Amendment, folks.
When people want something, they will get it. It doesn't matter what that thing is that they want. That thing can be alcohol. That thing can be marijuana. That thing could be food, work. If whatever it is, if people want it and government tries to take it away, they will find a way to get it. They will create a black market, and that black market will thrive. They'll be successful. The problem with the black market is you don't always know what you're getting, and that's where the danger becomes. The open market, the above water market. Buy from there, you can be pretty comfortable. It's pretty hard to give your marijuana dealer who's also selling you a legal flavored vape a 1-star review on Google. But the shop on Westridge Road, if they give you a bad product, you can review them pretty good, and they'll go out of business if they don't change. All right, guys, we're going to talk about how to deal with those safety issues when we come back on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow. Simple Tech Innovations.
Fiorella, a family-owned farm-to-table Italian restaurant with casual atmosphere at the newly renovated Rochester Public Market. Fiorella offers
their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York on the WYSL stations.
And welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We're talking about vaping. We're talking about government regulations. We're talking about freedom. And Ron sends in a comment. This is Ron from YouTube. He says he quit smoking 15 years ago. He has no stake in vaping, but he does strongly support the personal ownership of one's own body. And I think that's probably the biggest issue here, is that government's telling you that they know better than you do about your body.
It's the nanny state.
Yep. And my thing is this, even if they did, let's say they do. Say maybe government knows better than you about your body.
Oh, yeah. That's likely.
Yeah, well, it's not. But I'm just, going along with the argument here would be it's still your choice. And it still should be your choice.
When have government experts ever been right about anything?
I'm sure there's some instances, but I would agree that in general, government's driven by donors. And lobbyists and all of that.
Government doesn't care about you. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about your schools. They don't care about your roads. What they care about is getting reelected and keeping the scam going. Yeah,
the reelection is really, really important to them. So let's talk, though, because people do have safety concerns, right? And that's what many people, I'm actually not one of them, but many people say, well, government's there to protect us. And that's what they believe. So let's go down that path and how we might be able to fix some of these issues. So the first thing that we have to realize is that government regulations are really a barrier to a successful economy and the red tape that makes it very hard for small businesses to survive. And I know some of you are like, wait, but what about if we have no regulations? What do we have? Do we have anarchy? Is this like a big issue? And no, I'm going to get to that. But we can do this without government regulations. And specifically, government has a monopoly on regulation. That's really the biggest issue, is that government has a monopoly on regulation. Monopoly is never good. Nobody else is allowed to have a monopoly. Somehow government is allowed to have it.
And it's the ultimate monopoly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So big businesses, giant corporations, they love regulations. The reason they love regulations is it crushes the little guy, and if they get the regulations just right, it could knock out their competition. So big business, love regulations. Small business, regulations aren't good for you. And if you don't believe me, if you think that I'm just making this up or that it's not true, look at how much companies and large corporations spend on lobbyists. The proof is right there. Follow the money. Big corporate donations and tons of money spent on lobbying. And I'll give you guys a real world example that I think probably 90% of us can relate to, and that's healthcare. All right. The Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, 20,000 pages of regulation. Who lobbied for that? It wasn't me. There were people asking for health care, but who lobbied for 20,000 pages worth of regulation? Oh, the insurance companies.
Yeah,
those people.
Right.
Oh, So, and if you look at where we are today, did your health care get any better? No. Did you get to keep your doctor? Maybe, but probably not. Did your premiums get lower? Definitely not. And did your care actually get better? And the answer is no, because your doctor, because he has so many regulations to keep up with, can't even afford to spend time with you in the room anymore. He can't. And you can't afford the copay and the high deductible plan to see the doctor anyways. So, and everybody's got a different situation. There are still a few of those plans that you actually get the $20 copay or something like that. But you'll notice your doctor doesn't spend as much time with you if you're even able to keep that doctor. The care definitely has not gone up. When you go see your doctor, you're not getting better care unless you are just in a very rare situation. In general, most people don't feel that way. So there we are. There's just one example of many, many examples. So how do we fix this? What could replace government regulations. What could actually make this better?
Call on me. I know.
Oh, let's hear. Let's go.
Here in the back row. Yeah, that'd be the free market.
The free market?
Freedom, liberty, people making good choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happens is it drives all the bad people out of business because you don't go to Jimmy's Vape shop up on Cuba Place or Avenue D because he's got juice that makes you sick.
Yeah. And when it comes to the idea of the safety, because that's what people are worried about is, well, if government doesn't have regulations, who's going to keep people in check? Well, here's a really simple answer. We can have standards. Standards aren't regulations, and government wouldn't have the monopoly on them. So government could have their own standard. And the New York State standard, well, actually, I'll go through the standards and we'll give some examples. So government can have its own standard, and products that follow that standard get stamped with that standard. Pretty simple. Then each industry can have their own standards, and same thing. You follow the industry standard, you get that stamp. And the insurance companies who are insuring the product and insuring the production, they can also have their own standards. And the products that meet those standards have that stamp. So then you, as the consumer, get to look and decide and see each product on the shelf and go, this one's got the two standards that I like, that I'm comfortable with. I'm going to buy this one. And you might go, I don't like those standards. I think it's a load of crap. I'm getting this one, and you have that decision-making process. Government can still have a little bit of say. The industry has some say. The insurance company has some say. But you as the consumer have the final decision. So let's talk about this, in terms of something near and dear to me, motorcycle helmets, because I want my head to be safe while I'm riding on the road, and hopefully people are looking twice when they're riding around so that I don't get hit while I'm riding my motorcycle. There are many different standards for motorcycle helmets. You've got your DOT, your Department of Transportation standard, which is kind of the government standard. And that standard there, in New York, you're forced to have it. But in other states where you can ride without a helmet, that's actually a choice. You can choose to take a DOT-approved helmet. There's another standard. It's created in Europe, similar to DOT standard. It's the ECE 2205 standard. So you could shop around if you thought that standard was better for your head, and you could choose that. Or you could choose Snell. And Snell is actually independent of government agencies, and they have their own standards. They actually say their standards are better than government standards. I happen to agree with them. And when I went to purchase a helmet, I actually chose a helmet that was rated both DOT and Snell. And that was my choice as the consumer. So this is what we're talking about. Now, did government have any say in that? Well, they kind of did because they're forcing me to have a minimum of DOT. But if I lived in another state, that wouldn't be the case. And I would have chose a helmet that was DOT and Snell anyways. But that's like a baby step in the direction of what the rest of the market could look like. So another example that's working today is health food stores. Bring up health food stores often because they're not regulated by the FDA. They're not really regulated by anybody, but we don't have a whole bunch of crazy deaths from health food stores. And what they have for their standards is the organic labels. So you meet somebody's organic criteria, you pay them a fee to test it, and you then get their label. When you go to the health food store, you go, I really like the products labeled with the blue organic thing, and you shop those products. And the more people that sell those products, the more they stock them in the store, and the free market drives that whole process, and the standards are what keeps you safe. Because if that blue label, if they weren't actually following the standards, or you were getting sick or something bad was happening, you'd stop buying that. And so would everybody else. And they'd eventually either fix it and get better or go out of business, and government had nothing to do with it at all. So same thing for the vaping industry. We could literally do the same thing where New York State could make their standard for no flavored vape. And it would be the New York State no fun standard or something like that, you know. And then the vaping industry, they could make their own standard. We'll call it Great Vape or something. And, you know, if you follow these things in this process, you can get the Great Vape stamp on your product. And then the insurance company creates their, like, you know, we're ultra safe and never get sued stamp or whatever. And when you go to the vape shop and you say, hey, okay, yeah, I'm not interested in the New York State no fun standard, but I do want a product that is Great Vape and safe certified. You know, what vape do you have in the shop that meets that standard? And you could shop that way, and you could feel safe that way. You know, it'd be an open market. You don't have to go to the black market. So that's my answer. That's how we could eliminate government monopoly on regulations, still have safety, still have choice for the consumer, and you know, just have competing standards.
Yeah, here's another hallmark of the government interference too. If the regulations seek to fix a problem that doesn't exist, sure. and earlier in the show you pointed out how there's been 6 cases nationally of vaping, you know, deaths directly related to vaping.
Yep.
And those were not legitimate products any thinking person wouldn't use anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. My gut tells me that vape products will come back in New York a little before the next gubernatorial election, so Cuomo can try to look like a hero that brought vape back. That's just my gut. But, you know, and I hate it when I'm right about these things. I really hate it when I'm
that
right
people will
about
forget.
these things.
That's the other thing,
well,
too.
Well, that's the thing. People will forget that he took it away in 3 years.
Exactly.
And then he'll bring it back and they'll be like, oh, Cuomo's so great. You know, he made it so that we can have flavored vape in New York, and people will forget he was the one to take it away to begin with. So one more thing before the show ends, I want to give Kyle a shout out. Kyle joined our Patreon during the show.
Yay, thank you, Kyle.
The show. Yes,
you
Kyle.
rock, Kyle.
Thank you so much. It's people like you who help keep this show going. Guys, I will be back on Friday. We'll see. Maybe I can get Larry Sharp on the show. I'll catch you then.
I hope. All right. Thanks, folks. See you next time.